What's up, guys? Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. Today we have some TikTok drama. It's gonna be a one story video today, and it's gonna be a full TikTok saga. This young lady on TikTok was accused of stealing the business idea of her own sister, and then customers of the stolen business came out to complain that they were getting scammed or she wasn't getting refunds, etc., etc. So it's a whole thing that's been blowing up on TikTok recently. Before we start, I just wanted to say thank you so freaking much to the anonymous person who bought me 5 coffees. So here we go. Woo! Oh my goodness, this thing takes forever to... There we go. Woo! Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Also, I am always playing around with my filming setup because I am into like filmmaking, etc. So I have a new filter on my camera lens. It's like a dreamy, soft effect filter. So let me know what you guys think. For the people who are actually watching this, let me know what you think of like my new filter. If you like it, I did link it in my description. FYI, all of my equipment is always linked in my description if you are ever curious of the things that I use. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are on the road to 10K, and let's get into the video. The first video was from July 10th, where the sister, the wronged sister, her name is Taylor, put out a story time about how her sister, I'm assuming, stole the business. Now, I haven't actually watched all of these videos all the way through, so I'm not exactly sure what she's gonna say or what this is gonna be, but let's get into it and see.
Story time about how my sister stole my brand vision and ran forward with the company and left me in the dust. Maybe many of you have seen it lately on TikTok. It's kind of gone viral, especially in the bridal world. It's called Ma Corsetiere. Thank you so much, because that was mostly all me, and let me explain why. So I'd say about 4, maybe 4.5, 5 years ago, my sister and I sat together. We were like, what can we do? I said, why don't we start doing lingerie and sleepwear, blah, 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 blah. She said, I was thinking the same thing. Something clicked. Long story short, we were like, oh, okay, let's do this thing. And that's when the brand Ma Coquete was brought to life. And here it is. That's
Ma Coquete. Wait, is that... Okay, hold on. Let me
why Ma Corsetiere might sound so similar, because here it is in all her glory. That look familiar, sis? It should.
Oh, she said, did that look familiar, sis? I'm crying.
Because there's over 1,400 designs in all.
So she has text on screen. She said, I've designed 1,400 plus designs, spent money, traveled, and met with mentors and multiple investors, self-taught skills, trades, and business knowledge for years to prepare for this brand.
3 of these binders, baby. Now, the whole concept of Ma Coquete is wearing it from the bedroom all the way out to wearing it out with a set of jeans, and then also putting it on with one of our slip skirts and making it into a gown or something more formal. And also heavy emphasis on bridal. I think out of the 11 or 12 collections I have right now for Ma Coquete.
Okay, she has more text on screen. She says, I have been engaged and on my bridal journey for 3+ years now, so I've stayed heavily influenced.
I think about 8, if not 9, are bridal. By the way, Ma Coquete hopefully will be released sometime this year, and I'm looking forward. I will be starting with sleepwear since I'm not a corset maker, but I am learning to sew, and I'm very excited to show you guys what I have in store.
Okay, so I think I understand what's happening. The idea that she originally had, that she brought to her sister, like, okay, let's do this, was Ma Coquete. And it was gonna be basically from sleepwear to nightwear, from, you know, loungewear or intimate wear to like a night out. Things where you can wear at home as lingerie, but also throw on some jeans, as she said, and like wear it on a night out. So the company that her sister created was called Ma Corsetiere, which to my understanding and from what I've seen so far is slightly different, because the brand that her sister created, and we'll look at the TikTok page in just a second, is focusing more on bridal. It's focusing more on corsets, bridal pieces, bridal dresses, like custom bridal things. This young lady's brand seems that it's kind of dipping into bridal, but more like the intimates. So it is kind of slightly different. I will say that the name is quite similar, but let me continue.
Because we wanted Ma Coquette to be bras, sleepwear, as well as corsetry. Corsetry is incredibly difficult to create and also to find someone who knows how to still do that craft correctly. It's an art form. We decided that since I'm in charge of everything besides actually creating the garments, she was going to create those garments. She was going to learn how to sew. She would come over and have,
Okay, so she has more text on screen. She said she also would edit photos on Adobe and Set Us Up, LLC, transferred everything, designs and patterns, etc., from paper to computer.
Just a basic corset pattern. And she would say, is this good for the scoop neck? Is this good for the sweetheart neckline? And I would say, come here, inch this down, bring this down an inch, a quarter inch, raise this here. We need more waist reduction. How can we do this? So I created the whole silhouette, and then she would just do as I instructed. Fast forwarding, when we lived in Scottsdale,
I'm gonna pause again because I get it. I understand what like the setup was supposed to be as far as how they were working together. I will say though, as someone who has had a clothing line before where you need to make designs and then you take those designs and cut out the pattern pieces and sew it. I've done all of that before. I will say that the sister low-key had more work to do. It's way easier to just handle the business side and not have to worry about cutting out designs, making designs, editing the designs, getting all the patterns. It's way more labor intensive to do that part of the business versus what she's saying that her role in it would be, which is basically, I guess, like the business side, the behind the scenes. So I do see how the sister could have broke off and just did it by herself, because in my unbiased opinion, and I'm only 2 minutes into this video, I do see how the sister who broke off and did her own thing could kind of been thinking, I could just do this without you. You're not really bringing much to it other than just like bossing me around and telling me what to do. Essentially doing all of the important work of carrying the company along, but only getting 50% of the profits, if that makes sense. But again, let me keep watching.
We were working a job that we did not like, and it gave her so much stress. She said, can I please start a mini business? And I said, sure. What were you thinking? She said, well, we need to start making social medias anyway for Ma Coquette. So what happens if I just sell plain corsets?
The text on screen says, with the Ma Coquette patterns.
To also start practicing just plain corsets with the style, either sweetheart, scoop neck, straight, whatever, and just in plain silk colorways. And then I can grow that platform.
So more text on screen. She said, Ma Corsetiere was meant to be temporary to grow the socials used to launch Ma Coquette. She sewed the corsets, so she kept 100% of the profits made to pay her bills. Oh, okay. So I guess they came to an agreement where the sister was like, hey, I don't want to be working at the job I'm at. What if I go ahead and start a leg of the main business that we're trying to do that's only corsets, a part of the business that I would own that's only corsets, and we can use that traffic to drive it to the main business, which is Ma Coquette. And she would keep all of the profits because she's the one doing all the work over on that side. Don't get confused, okay? It's already starting to get confusing. So, quick recap. Taylor, and what's the sister's name? So I can just refer to them. I think the sister's name is Cricket, which is an interesting name. I've never heard that name. But Taylor basically came to Cricket and was like, let's start this business. It's gonna be intimate wear that you can wear on a night out. Cricket said, okay, bet. But in conjunction with that business, the Ma Coquette, I'm gonna do Ma Corsetiere and do corsets and make those corsets and get 100% of the profits because I don't like this job I'm at. But then I'll also use that business to drive more traffic to our main business that we're trying to do. I think that's where we're at right now. Let's continue.
And not only hopefully make a living by making some money and paying my bills, but the people that will follow will already like what we post and when we launch Ma Coquete. So we need to choose a name that sounds exactly the same and looks the same so that when we transition from what it was, which we ended up choosing Ma Corsetiere, to Ma Coquete, no one's really going to notice. She's going to introduce me and say, hey guys, I was just selling these base corsets before, but that's because we were getting you ready for our brand Ma Coquete. And you guys are already following. Wow, you already like what we're going to be selling, blah, blah, blah. And it already would have had a following. We moved.
Okay, I get what they were trying to do. I just don't understand why they didn't just sell the corsets as part of Ma Coquete. Like, why start a totally separate business but then be like, oh, actually we changed a business name, come follow over here, we have similar items over here. Like, why didn't they just, I guess, essentially do a soft launch with only the corsets, have Cricket, the other sister, keep those profits because she's doing all the work, and then add in Taylor, this sister, after, I guess, I don't know what they were waiting on as far as in getting the other part of the business up and running, but I don't understand why they took that decision.
Moved to Austin, Texas. This was about 2 years ago. We got in a fight, as sisters do. Was this a bigger one than usual? Sure. But 2 years is a bit extreme for something that we'd been arguing about our childhood and just stupid shit. Regardless, we already both did own together a glassware company. It's called Rich and Thirsty. And she said, you know what? I don't want any part of this anymore.
Okay, so on screen it says Rich and Thirsty Glassware is fully owned and operated solely by me now. So these girls are a pair of entrepreneurs, okay? They already had a brand that they were owning and operating and working on, and then they were starting up pretty much a second and a third company. I applaud it.
I don't want anything to do with you. I'm out. I'm done. She got off the LLC, signed over absolutely everything to me, and kind of dumped it on me. I had to learn everything that she was in charge of. I had double the responsibility now. It's a lot. All of a sudden, I keep getting sent to me from friends and family. Oh, you launched Ma Coquete. Wait, what are you talking about? No, I didn't. It's because she never stopped selling and producing things for Ma Corsetiere. So she dumped everything else on me, and she continued Ma Corsetiere on her own when she's never had any interest in fashion. Before I brought up this desire, she went to school for chemistry and a minor in math. Okay. Little did I know that years or plus later that she was going to, start making slip skirts and start adding lace and start doing a full emphasis on bridal and then taking full credit for it. Absolutely insane, especially when Ma Coquete is still right here 4 years later, and I'm getting ready to launch it on my own now, hopefully this year. It's just
I see what she's trying to say, but on the other hand, I also think just because she went to school for chemistry doesn't mean later in her life she can't change her mind and want to do something different. She essentially took what she was already doing 100% on her own and just expanded on it. I don't necessarily think that's wrong. Now, if she stole some designs or something, then yes, that's wrong. But there's many different companies that do the same thing. I'm not gonna just not do this channel, for example. There's many different channels that do TikTok reactions and Reddit reactions. I could have said, oh, well, since those channels already do it and I didn't start off doing Reddit, I actually started off vlogging. I can't do it because someone else is already doing it. I don't see that the sister has done anything wrong yet. Now, we still haven't gotten into the whole scams, but so far, I'm on Cricket's side. Okay, let me continue watching this.
Absolutely disgusting and crazy to me, the fact that someone who was so insanely close to me, we were more than sisters. We were like the best of friends, soulmates, we did absolutely everything together, would do this to me. I have tried to reach out multiple times. I'm blocked on absolutely everything. I've tried to email her. I've tried to drive over to her places. You know, I can't get in contact with her at all. She refuses to even speak with me, not even over the phone. She won't even speak to my fiance. She's blocked all my friends, even friends that she doesn't even know. It's very strange. It's giving guilt. It's giving, I know I did wrong, but I'm getting money, baby, and I am doing well. So, you know, you're nothing to me now. I get the younger generation is all about protecting their peace, but there's a difference between protecting your peace and isolating yourself so that no one can trigger you or call you out.
No, that I think that's the same. I think that would be the same thing. Like, okay, imagine that she does answer your call and she does, you know, you show up at her house and she does come out to talk to you. Then what? What exactly do you want her to do? Do you want her to stop making designs that have lace and silk just because you also want to do it? What is the end goal here for you?
Just saying. I've always been a very passionate person, and yes, that can be a little much at times, but when I tell you she is taking full credit for this, and it's not her credit to take to begin with. I mean, sure, it was partly her brand, but was it? I mean, there wouldn't be a Ma Corsetiere without Ma Coquete, and there wouldn't be a Ma Coquete without me. So I have all the receipts. If anyone wants me to do a part 2 and go into more detail, has any questions I have ever received. And before one of you guys in the comments says, it's just a corset and a skirt, it's not revolutionary. Okay, well then tell me why I had the opportunity a couple months ago to go and have a meeting with a shark, like from Shark Tank. He is not a shark, but he's best friends with all the sharks, and they offer to make him a shark all the time. He denies because he's very private, but he's still on that level. So I sat down with him, I showed him everything that I have to offer, all my designs and the vision, etc. I showed him hers, and he looked at both and said, are these not the same brand? Okay. Sure, my designs are way more intricate and detailed and have more precious fabrics than just silk, but they're the exact same silhouettes. It's the same pattern, it's the same shape, it's the same concept, it's the same vision, it's the same idea of.
On screen she has, remember, Ma Corsetiere was only meant to be temporary, created for Ma Coquete, to have popular socials to transfer over to when ready to launch, which is why the brands are a direct reflection of each other.
You know, wearing lingerie out, and it is the exact same corset shape. Something that I've worked so hard on for years and years and years and really gave my all to, and anyone who's an artist also knows that what you create is like a piece of you, and I feel like, you know, I've completely been wronged and ripped off, and like a part of me has died almost. It's just really terrible. Just think of that before you line this girl's pockets and give her business.
Okay, so that's the first video. That was, like I said, in July. Again, I am still kind of the mind that the sister didn't really do much wrong. Yeah, it's unfortunate that the brands are very similar, but unless she legitimately stole some of the designs and passed them off as her own, then yeah. But if there was a company that they were trying to do together, but Cricket, the other sister, launched her part first and the other sister was dragging her feet, as she said, it's been 2-3 years and she still hasn't launched the business, and Cricket just went ahead and did her own thing, then I don't really see the issue. The designs are different. Yeah, the brands might look similar, but many brands look similar. There's nothing new under the sun. So I really don't see that she did anything wrong, to be honest. I could be wrong, and I know you guys will let me know. So let me know what you think in the comments. So the second video that we have came a month later, where a woman was complaining because she bought a $700 wedding dress from Ma Corsetiere, the other sister's, you know, ancillary brand that she started without this first sister, Taylor, involved. And this was her video.
So I'm going through possibly the worst situation that any bride whose wedding is a month out could be going through. I reached out to a dress designer as of over a year ago at this point and connected with her, let her know that I had interest in her designing my dress. I actually found her here on TikTok. She makes incredible pieces. They're handmade corsets. She's super, super talented. I was really excited to be working with her. I changed my mind on the style of the design a couple of times, and we finalized the detail as of April. I paid for my initial deposit, which was $700.
Okay, pause. So she's filming this in August. So she said the initial like designs and conversation and stuff happened in April. I'm not sure when the wedding was, but yeah, just to give you a timeline. And it also sounds like 700 was just the deposit. I was wondering because I was like, how are you gonna get a custom wedding dress for 700? That seems cheap for me. But from what she's saying, it sounds like that was just the deposit. So let's continue.
On her website, it's listed as the pricing set for her corsets. After paying the $700, I was really excited between April and I let her know my timeline was really ideally July or early July. That wasn't going to be possible between April to July based on her schedule and the amount of clients that she was working. So she let me know this and I was willing to compromise. I told her last week of July would be able to work well for me, and really pushing it, like the possible last date it could be sent to me would be August 1st.
Okay.
Throughout the span of April to July, I had been consistently texting her, reaching out, checking in, letting her know, hey, I'd love to know where you are in the process. Honestly, like pestering, being really annoying, but something in me just kind of didn't sit right and I wasn't feeling super confident about it getting completed in the timeline we discussed. She had to order a special waist fabric that she didn't have. We confirmed the fabric and the fabric arrived in June, and she didn't actually send me a photo of the fabric like I requested until July 5th,
Ooh.
Exactly a month later.
That's late. So the fabric arriving in June and you need it by, when did she say I think she's getting married this month in August. That's cutting it close. The fabric just getting there in June and then she doesn't see the fabric until July. That's cutting it extremely close. As I said, I have experience making clothes from scratch and doing like custom designs, and that's cutting it close, especially if you have other clients that you're working with. Then yeah, that's okay. Let me continue.
From when the fabric had supposedly arrived, I was freaking out a little bit and I tried my hardest to be very patient. I completely trusted and relied on her. I saw other dresses that she'd completed for other brides and they were absolutely stunning. I also, keep in mind, have tried on a ton of wedding dresses. Nothing has given me that like wow factor. Nothing has blown me completely away. And I've seen very beautiful dresses from Fashion Week to Bergdorf's to wherever. And I was really excited to be working with her. Basically, between the month of July, the last update that she actually reached out to me proactively was on July 19th. We confirmed the price of the veil. We confirmed the price of the remaining that I had to pay for the dress, and basically we're good to go. She told me that she was going to be working and constructing the dress the rest of that week. And I didn't hear a single word from her until I reached out proactively the first week of August, actually after our deadline. She let me know, even though we talked about this back in July, on August 4th, 3 days after our August 1st, like maximum, beyond maximum deadline, like we're getting into the red zone here as I leave for my wedding on September 6th. She let me know that she'd be starting working on the skirt and that the corset top of my dress was finished.
Oh, okay.
I already invested $700 into this, so I was trying to be super positive, trying to be super patient with her. And honestly, looking back on it, was overly accommodating, overly nice for someone that I paid a service and they were not completing the service within the timeline that I had requested. At this point, I'm out $700 and I'm freaking out. I'm having a really hard time sleeping. And I asked for photos of their current progress and I never received any photos. I repeatedly asked for them. And then I was told last Monday, a day later, August 5th, that she did not have time to complete my veil, even though we initially started speaking back last year and we confirmed and I started paying the deposit for everything early April.
Okay, let me pause here. Yeah, I'm seeing some red flags. Obviously, we're gonna have a response from Cricket. She did make a video response to this, but it almost sounds like she was a little bit in over her head. It sounds like she had a influx of customers and she was really busy with doing orders and she thought that maybe she could get something done within a particular time frame, but she overestimated or was overconfident in that. And so yeah, if I was this young lady here, I would be worried too, because our first communications started in April and the wedding is in September and it's August 4th. She's supposed to fly out in a month and she still has absolutely nothing. And the designer is saying that she's just about to start on the second half of the outfit. And is not even going to be able to do the veil. I think that's what she said. She's not even going to be able to get the veil done. Let's see what else she has to say.
At this point, we're a month away from my wedding. I'm going to be out of town this week. So even if she sent it tomorrow, I'm likely not receiving it considering it's coming from Austin. I basically ended up reaching out to them and letting them know that I did not feel comfortable on Friday continuing our arrangement, considering we were well over a week over my deadline and I didn't have shoes, jewelry, or anything for the dress, not to mention now I don't even have a veil for this dress. It's actually really heartbreaking considering that I really, really love her work and I think she's incredibly talented, but clearly they have a business management issue.
Yeah.
I basically said, hey, listen, you can keep the money. I'd like the corset that I paid for. She prices her corsets on her website at around $700 because they're custom made and take a lot of time to do. Totally respect the time and effort and energy she put into it. Told her, hey, I'd let you keep this money. Please just send me the corset. They absolutely refused to do so until I paid the remaining fee for the dress. They claimed they cut the fabric.
Oh, okay. So I don't agree with that. I would have took her to the people's court. It's a contracts case, as Judge Millian would say. And Ma Corsetiere didn't hold up their end of the bargain. They said that they were going to have everything ready by a specific date. They didn't have it ready by that date. Not only that, they were just starting on the second piece and weren't even going to be able to have the veil ready. So to tell the bride that she had to pay the rest of the amount just to get what they had already done is crazy, especially when it's not the bride's fault that you're behind schedule. Or is it? I don't know. We'll get the response from Cricket, but in this video, I am on the bride's side. I think that they should have just given her the corset that they made and just absorb the cost of cutting the fabric. Now, I do see what she's saying. When you order fabric and then you already cut out the pattern, since it is a custom piece, that cut is specifically for that bride. Chances are there's not going to be another bride that's going to want the exact same cut. So you basically out that fabric, which I'm assuming the fabric was probably expensive because they had to get it shipped in, et cetera, et cetera. So I see what they're saying, but as I said, if they're the ones who were in the wrong and if the delay was their fault, then they should be trying to make it right with the customer, not making her pay the remainder of the balance. That's crazy.
I didn't see any photos or evidence of said cut fabric. We are well over my due date for when this dress was supposed to be in my hand and on my person by. And they are really, honestly, being extremely unprofessional at this point. I just wanted to share my story and warn people from working with this business. I'll tag the business down below. You know, I really hope that this never happens to anyone. I have not gotten my money back at this point. I filed a dispute with the credit card company. They're going to be fighting against it. There is an option to take them to small claims court. However, consulted with my lawyer, they said it'd be a little bit of a headache. So I let them know that I was going to be making this review if they didn't come to some sort of arrangement with me, and nothing's been done other than basically them, you know, disrespecting and continuing to gaslight me about my experience working with them. So just wanted to warn any other brides. I hope this never ever happens to anyone ever with their wedding a month away. Actually, less than a month away at this point.
Yikes. Yeah, I couldn't imagine being in her position. I would be freaking out too. I would have taken her to small claims court or something to try and get my money back. But I guess maybe the credit card dispute is the best course of action. So she actually did a follow-up that was, so this was 8/14. The follow-up was August 16th, which was 2 days later. And House of CB actually came through to help her out. So here's the follow-up video.
Some updates over the situation, and I just want to thank every single person who helped get my video attention and bring it to other brides as a warning, because that truly was my intention here, and it actually did get the attention of the vendor. I also wanted to shed some light and clarify some things on the timeline end. Some people felt like I was leaving details out. I just didn't want to make this video longer than it already was. I reached out to her, I believe the summer of 23. We were in basically constant contact. She let me know that she was not really making a lot of bridal dresses and she was super excited to be working with me on my wedding dress. We changed the design a couple of times. I changed the design a couple of times. One of the reasons was because I asked for a tulle skirt. She let me know she wasn't comfortable working with tulle. Great, no problem. We moved on and finalized on a corset top, over skirt, and a lace skirt. She was super sweet, super collaborative, and at the time didn't really post many people in her dresses except for herself. I saw working with her as a really great way to intimately work on my wedding dress and be really involved in the creation of it, whereas a bridal salon can take up to like 9 months sometimes to get a custom dress from those salons, because there's a ton of vendors involved and a ton of ordering from here and there, and also probably much more demand. The real issue is that she began working on the dress a week after the actual due date. I don't know if she started working on it beforehand, but it seemed like from communications with her assistant, who let it slip, that she hadn't even started working on the skirt yet. Wow. And this was already a week after the due date. So I hadn't seen photos. I asked for photos many, many times in that week, and nothing was discussed until my final decision to actually cancel my order with them on Friday. I never asked for a refund. I simply asked if she could send me my corset. And I actually was even willing to pay for the material that she cut. That's how much I respected her work. I was devastated, obviously, about having to terminate that relationship, but I didn't really see it that I had any other choice. So my wedding is actually out of country, and it's happening next month in mid-September. So we really don't have that much of a time turnaround between actually getting a dress, and especially considering the fact that it's coming from Austin to New York. So she reached out to me actually after seeing the video. So thank you everyone who helped get the video in front of her, and let me know that she'd be happy to refund me if I canceled the chargeback as well as deleted the video. And I didn't feel good about canceling the chargeback, so I reached out to my credit card company, asked them what that process looked like, and they basically let me know, if you cancel, we cannot reopen the case. So have her refund the money, and then the chargeback will be obviously canceled because it would have been resolved. I let her know, and she sent me a couple of screenshots basically saying her system didn't allow her to give me money if there's an open chargeback. But the person that I spoke to specifically at my credit card company told me their system should not be impacted by the chargeback, and they should be able to still refund you with an open chargeback. I haven't heard back since, so I don't really know what's going to happen with that situation and if I'll get my money back. But again, appreciate every single person who's reached out and, you know, showed their support, because the situation has definitely aged me like 3 years. But obviously a very special thank you to House of CB, who's sending me a dress, which is so exciting. I don't currently have a beautiful white wedding dress, so I ordered one with them. So I'm really excited about that, and I was actually jumping up with joy for the first time last night when I was messaging them. I will keep you guys involved if anything else pops up, and I will also share the dress when I get it. I'm heading out of town, but I'll be back in a couple of days, so. Okay, so that's the end of that video. I would be freaking out. So this is the infamous sister, the scam sis, as I call her in this story. This is her response. Before we go into her response, I just wanted to take a look at her TikTok page, because honestly, her stuff is really cute. I was just looking at some of the things that she offers. The girl in the last video was saying when she first reached out to her last year, she wasn't doing a lot of bridal stuff, but it looks like she has gotten more into doing bridal. And like this dress, it has a corset and I guess 3 skirts. It's so cute. I think that's her. Yeah, so it goes like from the wedding to maybe the cocktail hour to maybe the reception, kind of like a 3-in-1 type of thing. And then here's a video of one of her corsets with the skirt. Here's another video. I really like this one. I like that little like drape scarf thing. So it looks like she has some cute stuff. It looks well made, in my opinion. I haven't seen them up close, but I like the silhouettes. I like what she has to offer. So I just wanted to show some of the stuff. Now, I haven't seen what's in the first sister's designs or anything like that. So again, I do think that if she was stealing her sister's designs or just blatantly stealing things, like copying it word for word, that's wrong. But if it's something that's similar as her sister, I would be a little perturbed. But at the same time, she still has yet to drop her business. So what did you expect the sister to do? And what she's doing now is pretty much just an extension of what she already started doing, which was the corsets, which again, she already was 100% in charge of anyway. So, said all that to say, let's go to her response. This was 5 days ago. So somewhere around August 19th. So somewhere around 3 days after this second update by the bride.
Hi everyone, I'm here to speak against the allegations regarding myself and my company against an unhappy bride that canceled her custom gown once the gown was already in production. The design was not finalized until early spring, and she had not put a deposit down until the end of April. Because we had been speaking for quite a long time now, I wanted to honor that, and you can see in the messages between us, I fully was
Oh, let me pause because we have some messages. Okay, so bride, I'm assuming if I waited to order anything else, that timeline would probably just extend out, right? Cricket, when is your wedding? If you wanted a skirt I am comfortable making, the timeline would be the same. I can pretty much do anything but tulle, unfortunately, at the moment. Since we already did a mock-up corset, I am very confident it would be to your liking. Bride, yeah, so my wedding is in September and I'm leaving the country the first week of September. I'd love to work with you and I'm a little bit crushed about the timeline. I would be totally fine with sourcing the tulle and skirt elsewhere, but my main priority is having time to do that, which it sounds like no matter what I want, your timing is still in completion into August. Is that right? So far, what the bride is saying and what this young lady is saying is pretty much matching up. April was when they pretty much finalized the designs. I would think that 4 months would be plenty of time. Three and a half months would be plenty of time to make something shake. So let me keep watching here.
transparent that I wasn't even sure that I was.
More text. So April 17th, 2024, the bride said, "Hi, I just wanted to follow up on things here. What would be the soonest timeline if I just did one corset without any of the details, just the standard one on your website?" Cricket says, "Hi, so sorry, since this is my personal cell, sometimes I do not check all my messages often." I'm assuming she said that because she didn't respond soon. She said, "Replying to your message from April 16th at 8 p.m. And then she quoted the message. The message that the bride had sent was, "I'm so sad because I don't think that would work. It would only give me a month to find a ... And then Cricket says, "I can send you a swatch of the fabric so you can match a skirt." The bride says, "No worries at all. I just don't want to be annoying." Cricket says, "No matter the design of the corset, the timeline would be around beginning of August at the moment. Not annoying at all, of course. I apologize for the delayed replies." Bride said, "That's so sad to hear. Okay, I understand. I think I'll just have to find some other options for my wedding dress then." Okay. So we have a little bit of a deviation because the original bride said that they agreed on August 1st. I believe she said August 1st as the delivery date. What this lady in the screenshot that she says, she told her around the beginning of August. She didn't specifically say a date. And then the bride said, "Okay, I'll just have to look for some other options." So it sounds like she already was going to have to be looking for other options back in April. Maybe she has more screenshots. Let me see.
Was able to take her order any longer, and that I might.
So more text on screen. She said, "We later agreed on a full custom gown design to be done in the time frame instead of a more difficult tulle gown." Okay, I see. But I wonder what the exact date was that she told her. Let me rewind it a couple of seconds. I had to keep pausing because there kept being text on the screen. So let me just rewind it again.
Quite a long time now. I wanted to honor that, and you can see in the messages between us, I fully was transparent that I wasn't even sure that I was able to take her order any longer, and that I might only be able to supply her with a corset, and came up with this unique sketch. And this was the gown that was in production when she canceled her order on August 9th. We worked together to source a custom.
Having a gown be in production on August 9th when you have to fly out at the beginning of September, that's a tight turnaround. I would not be comfortable with that at all. In production, that means like you still have a ways to go. I don't know. Let me keep watching.
Lace fabric for her. I gave her a bunch of options, as you can see here on all the messages. She chose the one that she liked. We went with this beautiful beige lace fabric that I got from a supplier that I work with in Lithuania. From the beginning, we agreed upon an estimated delivery date of around the beginning of August, and all of that was fully transparent to her the entire time.
Okay, so she just puts up the same screenshot that we read just a second ago, where she mentioned that the timeline would be the beginning of August, and that was told to her middle of April.
It was fully transparent to her the entire time. Once the gown was in production in early August and late July, she never went over 12 hours without receiving a reply back from us. She also was informed of the delays because I don't know if people realize this, but I am the only one making all of these gowns. As you can see here on August 4th.
Okay, so what we have on August 4th, the bride says, "Hey, I wanted to follow up on progress. Feel free to have blank follow up, but just wanted to check back in so I can start to look for shoes. Thanks." And Cricket says, "The corset is finished and I will be finishing the skirts within the next week and shipped out." Bride says, "Amazing, yay, so excited to see everything and try it all on." Ooh, okay. First of all, she needs to get some help because she mentioned that she's the only one making all this stuff. It really sounds like she's overwhelmed.
She asked for an update. We updated her. I told her that the full garment would be finished within the next week and it would be shipped out to her. We had a phone call from her request on the 8th of August, and she did express concern of how the wedding was truly stressing her out, which we completely understood. We agreed upon having final photos sent to her on Saturday, and the dress was then planned by me to be sent out Monday morning for a Tuesday express delivery date. On that Friday, this is when we received this unexpected text message of her canceling her order.
Okay, so the message says, this message was 5 days after that previous message when they said, "Hey, we'll be finishing up within the next week," etc. The bride did say, "Okay, great, looking forward to trying everything on." Based off of her text, she didn't have any issue with that timeline. But now, 5 days later, she says, "Hi, you two. I wanted to reach out because I'm really uncomfortable with what's been happening with this dress situation and the fact that it hasn't been started until this week. I'm really upset that I haven't had any photos sent to me just yet, and I think it would be best to terminate our relationship. I know you put time and effort into this, and I don't expect a refund, but I will take the corset top when it's completed, and that'll be the end of this." Now, one thing I will say is I do think it's odd that in all of these messages, I do not see any photos sent, any progress photos or anything. Just like the bride was saying, she didn't have any progress photos or anything like that. But on the other hand, again, she previously, 5 days just before this, said she was okay with what the timeline was, but now she's not. Maybe she just thought about it more and changed her mind. I don't know.
Her canceling her order, and I wanted to give her a chance because we had been speaking so long, and just 4 days ago she had been sending me hearts and smiley faces and she was so excited, and so I thought maybe I was very concerned that she was not understanding the consequences of actually canceling her own gown, and I wanted to double check with her that she understood that if she cancels the gown, she has to afford the repercussions, unfortunately. In our policy, it says that clients who cancel their sales contract are not entitled to any refund of any money up until and before the cancellation date. For gowns that are already in production, especially custom gowns with custom source fabrics made to her measurements that cannot be resold or repurposed in any way at all, that the client is then responsible in payment in full to the company for the release of any of the pieces of the garment. The garment does remain the possession of Ma Corsetiere until the payment is received in full. She then goes and
that makes sense
with us and unfortunately say that she is entitled to a full refund or entitled to her corset top being released, and she doesn't need to pay for the skirt. She doesn't need to do anything further. She wants to terminate our business relationship relationship, aka cancel her gown, but still have the corset sent to her. But unfortunately, as much as I would like to help her, it does not work like that. It just doesn't. She then confirms a few days later that she does want to cancel the gown, but she is entitled to the corset top. We continued to try to work with her even after the gown cancellation. We gave her several options of what she...
Okay, so she has a few screenshots. So the first screenshot is an email on August 12th, 2024. It says, "Hi, blank. I am reaching out here again. I understand a message was sent to blank on her personal..." Oh, maybe this is like an assistant or something that works for the company. Anyways, so hi, blank. I am reaching out here again. I understand a message was sent to blank on her personal phone number about the situation. Because this has become an escalated issue, we are no longer using any personal phone numbers on our end for communication. Moving forward, everything needs to be via business email for bookkeeping. I do understand the concerns you have shared up to this point. We do apologize that this delay does not seem to work out for you. For this, we do apologize. We do not offer refunds for custom orders. As discussed upon payment, the order for the corset was used as a deposit. Deposits for Ma Corsetiere are non-refundable. We are happy to send the corset, but the entire custom payment must be sent. This is an outstanding balance of blank. If you are still interested in obtaining the skirts, this setback has unfortunately caused quite a delay in the studio, and your delivery would be pushed back quite a bit, as we have no choice but to prioritize others whose weddings are just around the corner. Okay, now something's not. So this was sent August 12th. Just on August 4th, they said that her skirt would be getting shipped out within the next week. The bride messaged on August 9th, just 5 days later, saying that she wasn't comfortable, etc. They could have, if the skirt actually was in production August 9th, they could have took that opportunity to say, actually, the skirt is almost done. Even this lady said she was planning on shipping the skirt out to express deliver. So the skirt should have been pretty much almost completed. And so when the bride texted and said, "Hey, I'm not comfortable with this, etc.," why didn't then the company say, "Actually, the skirt is almost done. You know, we're just finishing up the touches. We can have it expedited and shipped to you literally within the next 2 days." Why wasn't that the response? And then just 3 more days later, on August 12th, they're sending this email saying that it would be delayed because they have other, but why isn't the skirt already done? So I see what the bride is saying here, that she wasn't getting any communication. She wasn't getting any progress photos. They're saying that things are in production, but was it really in production? Because 4 or 5 days have passed and the skirt is still not done when you said it would be done within the next week. Something is not adding up. So another screenshot that she has, it looks like these are texts from the business phone that say, "This is unacceptable. Hi, blank. Unfortunately, that is not an option. You can pay the remaining balance and wait for all the garments to be completed and shipped, projected Monday for overnight by us, or you can pay the remaining balance and we send out only your corset and possibly lace skirt as mentioned tomorrow. We are a bespoke brand and do not offer refunds, unfortunately. I am sorry that you are disappointed and this does not seem to be working. Production on your skirts have stopped. If you make a decision, then we will resume. I hear the frustrations and I do apologize. I know that blank apologizes as well. If the skirts were not already in production, then we could do what you ask. However, this is a business and we are to abide by our policies. The first payment has acted as a deposit. The second payment is the payment in full. We do require full payments even for canceled orders. These are custom garments and returns are not offered. It doesn't have a date on when this was. I'm assuming it was sometime around that between August 4th and August 12th because they were saying they could ship everything out by that Monday. I would be freaking out if I was a bride. I would have very little confidence that I was going to be getting my stuff. Does she have any more screenshots? So there's another screenshot of her Shopify, and it says $721 was deducted from your payout because of a chargeback. So it looks like Shopify took out money from their account because of the chargeback. So let me rewind a few seconds to see what she's saying here.
Does want to cancel the gown, but she is entitled to the corset top. We continued to try to work with her even after the gown cancellation. We gave her several options of what she wanted to do. Within 24 hours of this, we received a chargeback on the card, and all of the money was then stripped from us. And against what people are saying in Shopify rules, once a chargeback is complete.
So she has a screenshot of Shopify Help Center. It says you can't issue a refund after a cardholder initiates a chargeback. If you determine that a refund is warranted for an open chargeback, then the cardholder must first drop the chargeback and then you can provide a refund. So she is correct on that part.
Onto the card, you cannot give the person a refund, even if I wanted to.
Okay, sorry. I keep pausing because she keeps adding in context and screenshots on screen. So she adds a screenshot of a text message. Hi, I haven't had time to reach out today. Please Apple Pay me or just refund me the money to my credit card and the case will be closed. Thanks. I'm assuming that's from the bride. And then she also has a asterisk on screen. When I asked that she take the video down, she then requested I refund her via Apple Pay with the open credit card chargeback still ongoing.
Refund her, I am not able to. This entire thing has been incredibly disappointing and just incredibly unnecessary. We were willing to work with her and were working with her every single step of the way. And if she had waited 3 additional days, she would have received her gown last Tuesday in full. I want to remind all of you again that this was a one-of-one gown, and once it is canceled, all deposits are non-refundable, just like anything that is made to order in the entire world. Because of this, I did have to take a break for a few days, and unfortunately our timeline was so tight that I'm not allowed to take a break for a few days. And so I really want to deeply apologize for the other orders and girls that were affected because of this. All orders now are placed via private inquiry only, and the timeline of these orders are now under control. I want to shift my energy in a positive manner and continue working with those brides who truly understand what a handmade garment is and what they are receiving. So thank you for everyone that has been truly understanding and is still excited to work with us, because we will be continuing and we have a lot in store for the future and are very excited.
Okay, that's the end of that. So, I mean, as I I think there was a lot of mistakes. I think that the company could have had better communication. To me, if I was a bride, I would have been nervous too. I haven't had any pictures. I haven't had barely any communication. I don't know if I'm gonna be getting my dress, but in hindsight, if she would have just waited a couple days, she, like as the lady said, would probably have her dress by now. But I do understand the bride's point of view. She don't know, y'all. She don't know what's happening. She feels like she hasn't gotten any communication or anything. So she just wants to go ahead and cancel and wash her hands of the situation. She's getting antsy. Her wedding is in a month. I get that too. All right. So there's another video. This is the bride's response, where someone said they had a delivery date of August 1st agreed to. And this was the bride's response.
Okay, so I wanted to address the questions around the timeline. I did see her video, and I did see in her video she did share some of our screenshots of our text messages. In our text messages, it's so true, she did text me and say early August, which I totally take ownership over. I should have been more clear and responded to her, no girl, we said August 1st, but we do also have text messages that say August 1st in the timeline. I just want to make sure that everyone's like fully aligned on that. August 1st was the absolute latest date that I felt comfortable at the time receiving a dress. Now, that being said, August 4th came around, she texted me saying that she wasn't going to be able to have my veil. If she had texted me August 4th and said, hey, like, I have your dress, it's ready to get sent, here's some photos, great, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. Honestly, if she sent me any text similar to that anytime within that last week before I canceled my dress, I would have been comfortable with that. Issue.
Okay, let me pause here. So it sounds like they did have an agreed upon date of August 1st. I was thinking like, okay, she said early August, but there nowhere in the text did I see August 1st specifically. According to her, and she doesn't have any screenshots or anything in the video, but according to the bride, they did have August 1st specifically. With that in mind, again, I would be even more worried that I wasn't gonna get my stuff. But that's just assuming that what she's saying is true. I don't see any evidence, but that's assuming what she's saying is true. Okay, let me continue.
Is that my order, yes, was accepted, and production didn't start until after that August 1st deadline. I know in her video she mentioned a couple of times that August 13th, or maybe she mentioned it once, I don't know. August 13th was her timeline to actually ship the dress to me, and I would have had the dress by now, but that's not the discussed timeline. And honestly, I didn't even hear a date of August 13th until watching that video. So
also, one of the comments over here says, and August 13th is mid-August, not early. That's also a great point, because if she was saying early August, then even by her own admission, the date that she had said that she probably could have had the dress out by was still too late. So either way you look at it, the designer was still late on the dress.
That was a little concerning for me. That made me nervous, not wanting to move forward. We also did not have a formalized contract. I actually asked her about having a contract when we initially got conversation started, actually our first phone call, and even offered to write a contract. I felt like that was overstepping a little bit, so I took a step back and was like, okay, you know what? I know, and I knew at the time that text messages and email exchanges do act as a contract if necessary, and will hold up in a court of law if, again, necessary. All that being said, in her video, I did see her address other brides and say basically that, you know, that video and all of this going on is causing a delay for her other brides and getting their dresses. That's the exact issue in the first place. So right. I really just hope that brides that are, you know, considering working with this vendor, you know, just take a moment to look at all of the resources that are now available online. I posted my resources. I know other brides have shared their stories on Reddit. There's the other bride who came out and shared what she received when she got her dress delivered to her. Ooh. And honestly, that was exactly what my fear was in that last week before canceling my dress, was just getting a dress that was a rush job. Like this, you know, is something that I ordered months ago and I know could have been completed within the timeline that was allotted for it. However, a week to complete a dress, just, I didn't feel comfortable with that. You know, it's $700, which for some of you is not a lot of money. For some of you is a lot of money. Regardless, I'm a paying customer and I would like my dress to come in, you know, a beautiful manner. This is my wedding dress. It is a big deal for me. So, you know, just kind of wanted to share that. I had a brand, Hanifa, actually reach out to me and let me know that they have this incredible dress that they really want me to try on. So I will be heading over there at some point today to try it on.
Oh my goodness. I love Hanifa. I have so many of their pieces. Hanifa is my splurge brand. Like, I like their stuff because it's high quality and it's made for tall girls, and I'm 5'8". So I love Hanifa, and they have like a bridal collection. Someone said a Hanifa bridal dress would be beautiful on you. I agree. So I hope she is able to get a Hanifa dress. I know House of CB came through, but I don't know if House of CB is like, I love House of CB too, no shade. That might be more for like a reception dress versus like the actual ceremony dress. So if she's able to get on with Hanifa, that would be great. Now, I will say, I'm on the bride's side. I'm on the bride's side in this story. I would not have been comfortable with any of this. The beginning of August, you have to head out in a month to get to your wedding. You still have not even seen anything of the final product of your wedding dress. A month out, 3 weeks out, you still haven't gotten it physically in your hand. I would be shaking in my boots. I probably would have did the same and canceled. And I think that just in good faith, the company should have given her the corset for the cost of, the $700 or whatever, and just absorbed that loss, because it was their fault that they were late. And that would have just been an expensive lesson they had to learn. So then we have back to the original sister. This is the sister's second video that she posted 4 days ago around August 21st.
Hello everyone, I was not going to make a part 2, but here we are. After rewatching the video and knowing everything I know, some of the questions I got make sense because I left out some details, and I'm going to add those in the video right now and just answer some of those questions. So first thing to start off is that when people were saying you were holding her back, you were taking your time, you didn't want to launch, she was ready.
I said
no,
that.
that's not the case at all. The reason we could not launch is one thing and one thing only: money. It costed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to launch my designs, because in the beginning we wanted to launch with my more one-of-a-kind, very detailed designs. We wanted to launch with like a wow factor. So what did we do to try to make money to be able to launch and afford Ma Coquete? We started Rich and Thirsty Glassware, and that is why Rich and Thirsty was started, was because of Ma Coquete. I was ready to launch, she was ready to launch, we were both very eager. I also saw a couple comments saying that she was doing all the work because she was sewing, but
that was one of my comments, so let's see what she has to say on that.
That simply was not the case because we were outsourcing our garments. From the beginning, we were never
Wait a minute, outsourcing? Wait a minute, hold on.
Going to do made to order or custom orders that she's doing now. We were never going to do that. We were doing similar to Agent Provocateur with the sizing, and we were going through a manufacturer, which is why the price was so high for the level of difficulty and all the components that goes into a corset. The manufacturer said that it's much easier if they have a garment, an example garment to go by with the pattern tech pack as well. She looked at me and said, I feel that you're doing a lot of work and you don't have the time. Her words, not mine. I would like to learn how to sew so I can contribute in the way of making the sample garments, just the samples of the ones that we were going to launch with. Also the tech packs or patterns, which is not easy. It is hard work. I am not discrediting that. This was after we'd spent thousands and thousands of dollars on people we found on different websites, on Etsy, anywhere, that were corset makers. Unfortunately, the people that we did find were unfortunately not skilled enough to create this level of design or pattern. It came back really bad and really costumey, really bad. So that's how she got into learning that skill of making corsets, because we were launching with them and we kind of exhausted every other avenue.
Okay, so it sounds like from what she was saying, the sister wasn't going to be just the whole lifetime of the business sewing every garment. It didn't start out with being like a custom, like they were doing everything. They were going to outsource pretty much all the work. They were going to be coming up with the designs and the patterns and get it sent off to actually get it made. But in the meantime, for the samples, essentially, that they were going to launch and show on their website and social media, those were going to be made by the sister. That makes sense. But so then, to the sister's credit, because her main thing is like the sister stole her idea, but to the sister's credit, the sister is making everything by hand and making everything custom. She's not outsourcing the work like they were planning on doing in their original idea. So, okay, let me continue.
The way I looked at it was this business was not mine, was not hers, it was ours. We worked really well together because I am a creative person and she's an analytical person, so we worked so well together. Whenever I designed, we were always together directly next to each other, or even if we weren't, I would send a picture and send it to the group chat of my mom, my sister, my boyfriend, now fiance at the time, and her boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend. We were all in a group chat. I was proud of what I did. Those people were my family, and of course I'm going to share. I trust them more than anything. So there wasn't one aspect of the business that we both didn't know about or agree to or speak about. By her making her own garments and not outsourcing obviously saves an insane amount of money. But that obviously wasn't a possibility before when we spoke about it. It was not an option because corsetry takes a long time to master, and to create a quality garment doesn't happen overnight. She became so incredibly stressed just making the samples, which I can understand, that my mom and I even split halvesies on a full spa day for her in Scottsdale so she could try to relax. If we would have agreed to not outsource and to have sewed our own garments in-house and sold them, then without even a question, I would have learned right then and there how to make corsets with her, and we would have sewn together. I would never have had someone sew or do all the work. That's insane. A sample would take her weeks, I believe, to finish, and it still wasn't presentable. It wasn't a quality garment for obvious reasons. I mean, this is an art form. It doesn't happen overnight. It seemed extremely unattainable from what I saw, what I was told, and what I received information-wise from her. I want to add that these garment books that are very heavy, God forbid anything happened to these books, but we realized that, and we started and tried to take each one out and scan them onto her computer. She got a new computer back then, and so it had all the memory and it was quick. I think we had about 900 designs then, 1,400 if you count the short of a long slip dress or vice versa, same with a robe. So we didn't get them all scanned in. We got a good amount of them scanned in, but not all of them. And not only the designs, but absolutely every corner aspect of the business.
So she has a text on screen. It was not just an idea, it was a full brand ready to launch if the funds were there. All the fine print was worked out. It was a matter of being patient while we hustled through Rich and Thirsty, their glassware brand, to make this money together.
This was not just an idea, it was a full-fledged business from top to bottom. Everything was absolutely created and ready to go. Not only the designs, but the entire brand, the ins and outs and everywhere in between. The entire company of Ma Coquete was on her computer because we wanted to keep them all in the same space for organizational purposes. That being said, when we got in the fight and separated, she took 2 USBs and put everything that she said she had on them and mailed them to me, along with anything else she said that she had for Ma Coquete before. Do I know if she deleted them off her computer? I don't know. I think I would assume she did. I hope she did. In emails, she said she relinquished all rights to the designs and said I want nothing to do with it at all and sent me on my way. And
okay. So she didn't steal any designs. That's good. I was worried that she was really a crook, but it looks like she gave she put all the designs on a USB and sent them all to the sister. So that's good.
Who knows? I also saw someone else say that they thought Ma Coquette's corsets, being primarily sleepwear and lingerie, were probably very different than hers now because hers are bridal. Let me show you guys.
That was my thinking too. So she's about to show us something, but that was my thinking, like, what is the big hang up if you were initially going for sleepwear and she ended up doing bridal? So I'm assuming she's about to show us some designs.
This paperwork. This is our number system, and this goes back to January 2021. The original name was Coquete before Ma Coquete, that's why it says that. But regardless, you can see here that it's much more than just sleepwear and just lingerie. Skirt and slip, which, by the way, the pencil writing is all my sister's. That's her handwriting. So you can see that even back then when she was still a part of Ma Coquete, there was knowledge of a skirt and slip accessories, which I will show you as well, that are bridal, and the multiple boned garments, bustier, corset, underbust corset, Mayweather's, all that. So you can see down here at the bottom, there's a couple that I'll just show you that are all bridal, and that is her handwriting.
So she has text on screen, collections binder. There are around 5 other bridal collections that aren't scanned or in the binder yet.
Goes to show that bridal has been in and with Ma Coquete for quite some time. So
Okay, but she did say it was the sister's handwriting, so it still seems as if it was the sister's idea to put bridal into the business. I mean, even still, everyone, like, you don't own bridal. Anyone can do bridal. So yes, that was the thinking, that you're gonna add bridal into the company. But my main concern would be if she's stealing designs from you. That would be wrong. But if she just went off and decided to do bridal, anyone can do bridal. I know it's sucks that she's doing something similar, but that doesn't, like, if my sister wanted to start a Reddit channel or a TikTok channel, I'm not gonna be like, no, I did it first, it was my idea, you can't do a TikTok channel. Honestly, I would be trying to help her. We've had talks about her starting her own channel. So to me, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here. Let me continue.
I'm going to say that I do not look at her socials anymore because it's obviously very upsetting. But for this video, I went and maybe looked for about 45 seconds, and these are just a couple things that caught my eye. Also, I feel I need to repeat this. It's not just the designs, it is the entire brand identity and the core values of the brand that were taken. You know, the website styling, the fabrics, the pattern, silhouette, shape.
If you're looking at the screen, these are some rough first drawings that they had back in November of 2021. And then she pans over to,
and here is the
Instagram that basically has the same exact design. So I will say it looks exactly the same as the design. Now, I don't know who made the design, but I would be raising my eyebrow at that one.
Yes. Now let's look at another one.
Another one.
Here's this one with a sheer kind of chiffon skirt and a silk scoop neck. And here's this. So the silhouette's the exact same. So what you're seeing here is actually the exact of what is on the bodies. Once again, it's the fact of who is producing these. My sister and I created this together, right? And now all of a sudden I'm out, she's in. We still were going to launch. Ma Coquete was never thrown aside. It just was on hold because we needed money. She never told me that she was going to or even capable of creating these garments in mass production. I'll share.
Okay, so now I'm kind of on First Sister's side. In the beginning, I was like, what's the big deal if she goes out and starts the, company? There's still a little bit left on this video that I have to play. But in the beginning, I was like, what's the big deal? She branches out. You were taking too long. She decided to start her own company. She was already doing corsets, blah, 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 blah. But now she's showing some designs that look very similar to the ones that they came up with together. With that in mind, I would be pissed because as I kept saying throughout this whole thing, if she stole designs, then that's another thing. And to me, it looks as if she essentially stole some of the designs. Yes, I know that they had like an argument or falling out, not exactly sure what happened there, but I feel like maybe she could have tried, like maybe they could have tried to work it out and still have them work together. Maybe she could have talked to her about which design she was gonna, I don't know, maybe they could have like talked about it or something. But I guess the way that she went about it with just blocking her on everything and then just going and producing some of the designs that they created together, I do think that's wrong. I would not ever do that to my sister.
Some of this with y'all as well. It's hard to focus, but so what I'm saying is that all this bridal has and was spoken about. None of this is new. Bridal is very much Ma Coquete. It wasn't just sleepwear. Now, what you need to understand is that it doesn't matter that this has been done before, because I never said that this was revolutionary. It's another brand similar and wearing corsets out.
That's what I said.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, those people are not my sister.
Yeah.
And they didn't sit next to me for years and years and create this with me. The ones that were honestly the most basic out of the 1,400 designs. They were some of the most basic because you always need classic pieces amongst the really wild and more out there. This is not some random person who put the same thing out as what I will for the classic basic designs and I get angry about. This was all done together and spoken about together. But now it's just her. To wrap it up, I will not be launching Ma Coquete with boned garments like corsets. I will be launching with versatile luxury sleepwear. During this time, I am learning how to sew boned garments because after all this, who better than to bring my garments to life than me? So I look forward to working with you guys in the future.
Okay, so with that added bit of context, I am on her side. I would be hurt, especially if there were things that we discussed and we talked about. I do think it was wrong for then the sister to just go and like do it by herself. I understand the situation because they had a falling out or whatever. I don't know if there was any way around it other than her just not doing it, or the two sisters making up and going back into business together. So it's a tough situation, but if I was the first sister, I would be pissed. Now we have some other videos. We actually have a video from someone who I think was a customer of hers, and this was back in March of this year. So this was way before all of this debacle is happening. And this is actually a good review of Ma Corsetiere.
Ma Corsetiere, who I've tagged in the video. The top is the silk scoop neck corset, and the bottom is the floor-length silk skirt. She makes everything to order out of Austin, Texas. So you send over all of your measurements, and then she makes it exactly to fit your body in about 6 weeks. I think mine took 4 to 6 weeks. And then the veil is from an Etsy store called Your Shawls. You can screenshot this to have a look, but it's basically a 59-inch or 150 centimeter lace mantilla veil with a single comb in it. It's like a Spanish style veil. If you have a look, there's tons of them and super, super cheap. And then the beautiful earrings are my mum's. She wore them on her wedding day. So
she's replying to a comment where someone was asking for details about her dress that she wore to her wedding. If you're looking on screen, here are some pictures of her in the dress. As she said, she got the veil off of, I think, Etsy, but the dress looks great on her. The dress looks really good. It fits her perfectly. Again, this is before the whole debacle. And so on that reply video, someone said, read the reviews. A lot of people saying that they have been scammed, and the creator responded, I'm seeing this now. It sounds like perhaps they have gone viral and she's unable to keep up with the demand, but not handling it properly. That's my assessment of the situation, that they need some business management. So now here's another victim of Ma Corsetiere. This was posted 5 days ago as well. So around the same time that the Ma Corsetiere owner, I believe her name is Coquete, posted her response to that original bride that we saw in the beginning.
So to be honest, I can't even believe that I'm making this video right now. But I just want to say, hi Coquete. I think it's very funny that you said that you were addressing the allegations against you and your company when you and I and other people know that you actually stole that company from your sister, but we'll get into that later. I'm just thinking that it's a little funny that you were able to make a whole TikTok video response to a bride, but you couldn't even text me back about the refund that I'm supposed to be getting because I'm returning the full dress to you. I'll post that here.
Okay, so she posted a screenshot. Apparently she had texted her the day before. So she said, hello, Coquete. I have brought the dress to 2 seamstresses. They have to completely deconstruct and redo the entire skirt because it is angled. Both are unable to complete it for my wedding day. I am returning the dress for a full refund and I can ship it to you today. I am due $1,150. Please let me know when that is done so I can send you the tracking number. If I do not hear from you by the end of the day, I will be disputing the charge with my credit card company. So I will say, you cannot get a refund on custom items. That is their policy. I'm not sure if this girl knows that, but even though she is upset with how the dress was made, she has to give the designer a chance to fix the issue before she can even attempt to try and get a full refund. Based off of court cases that I've seen on the People's Court, I just know that that's usually how it goes. Someone actually commented, I noticed that on some of the pictures of the dresses where she had models in them, it looked lopsided in areas. Ooh, another customer said this, she does not care. I got my dress 4 weeks late, 1.5 weeks before my wedding. All I got was excuses when I would ask her for updates on my order. Ooh. Someone said $1,200 for a custom wedding dress is very cheap, like red flag cheap. I'm so sorry this happened. I hope you are able to get the dress of your dreams in time. Yikes, it's not looking good for sis. Let me continue playing this video.
So yeah, you can't respond to me, but you can make a whole TikTok. That's fine. No, that's fine. I just don't understand why it's so hard for you to just say, you know what, guys, I messed up, overbooked, really shouldn't have taken orders, and just take accountability, because it seems like you keep telling people that you care about the brides and all of this, but the only time you actually care is when anyone has a following or any sort of weight to the opinions of other people. You don't actually care what the brides think at all. And I'll make a whole video later this weekend about all the receipts that I have, because I paid you 1.6K for a dress that came in with, first of all, the wrong color, skirt uneven, sleeves couldn't even lift up my arms, the zipper completely unfinished, the layering under the lace non-existent, the layering of the lace completely uneven, whole thing lopsided, just absolute insanity. And you were kind enough to give me a refund of $400 when I told you that the bustle that you were supposed to add in that you needed an extra week to do wasn't even on the dress. And you realized, uh-oh, I totally forgot to do that, and I guess I didn't need all that time. So thanks for that refund, but I'm still waiting for your text back because I have a dress to return, okay? And I kind of need your address so I can return it.
So you're not getting that
money
refund.
back.
You're not getting that money back.
I think that's more than fair based on all of the information that I have. So, and like, I also just want to address the fact that you're apologizing to the other brides that are getting dresses from you, not because you're late, but because you had to address allegations and that pushed your timeline back for their dresses. So I find that really funny, because when my dress was 2 months late, I didn't see you making any TikToks to address any allegations. So where's my apology?
2 months is
for
crazy.
that? Because if you want to apologize to all the other brides who got pushed back 3 days because you had to address a video of someone calling you out for your scammy behavior, where's my apology? Where's all the other brides' apologies? Because I know pretty much every single bride that I've spoken to personally that's contacted me or I've been in contact with have all gotten their dresses late. Not a single one on time.
That's
so
not good.
Are you going to apologize to them, or is this just like a whole facade that you want to put on for everyone? Because all you have to do is say, hey, I know that you want your dress. I am not capable of making your dress. So therefore, I am not going to let you purchase a dress from me, because I know that I would be scamming you by accepting your money. But instead, what you keep doing is you keep taking orders that you don't have time for, and then you keep putting it back on the brides, saying like, oh, my grommet machine broke, or oh, I had a bridal emergency. No, Cricket, no, you didn't have a bridal emergency. You overbooked yourself with too many clients because you got all excited that your brand was blowing up, and now you can't meet the orders that you're supposed to meet. Take accountability for not being able to do the job that you're telling people you can do. It's really not that hard. Don't take any more orders.
Yeah.
The fact that you're still in business when you actually told another bride that you were shutting down completely because of how bad things were going.
Oh.
Wild. Absolutely insane. But I'm just gonna leave that here for now. Goodbye.
Oh, well, that was quite a read. I mean, I do agree with what she's saying, aside from the fact that she essentially stole the business idea from her sister. I feel like she tried to branch out into doing this bridal stuff when just last year she was not really doing bridal stuff, and now all of a sudden she has all these bridal clients. She's not completing stuff on time. She has all these different excuses. People are not happy, and I think maybe she scaled too quickly and just cannot handle it. So I do think she needs to scale back, maybe just go back to only doing the corsets. But this whole thing is a mess. Maybe it's karma ruining her business. Maybe it's the universe or whatever punishing her for stealing her sister's not stealing her sister's business idea, but taking the business idea that her and her sister had together and just doing it on her own. I don't know, but this whole thing is a mess. I am on the first sister side. I am on the bride's side. Although I do like Cricket's garments, I think they're great. I would probably order from her in another time. I don't plan on getting married anytime soon, and I don't really have a use for a corset. But I do think she has some things that she needs to work through as far as the business is concerned. And I hope she's able to work through them. Shoot, maybe she should even hit the sister up. Maybe her and the sister could start working together again. I'm sure if she came and apologized and they tried to work it out, maybe they can start working together again. I don't know. That could be something. Honestly, she would have did better to just wait for the sister and just do the business with the sister as they originally planned. And I don't think she would be going through all of this. She could have had the sister help with like customer service, or even the sister said she knew how to sew. She was just learning how to sew like in a different way, but the sister knew how to sew. She could have helped sew garments, helped keep the lead times, accurate. Like she could have, but she wanted to go off and do things on her own, and child, it's not looking good for Ma Corsetiere, I'm not gonna lie. I'm interested to see Ma Coquete to see how that goes. I hope she learned a valuable lesson in this. I don't have any palette cleanser for today's video. This video is already longer than I had anticipated it to be, but thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.